Out. Okay, and let me start sharing the screen. Okay. Yeah. Better to sit in the front rows. It's easier to see what's happening on the screen. So I will hide the floating controls. I don't need to see myself. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Here in StartIt AI Hub in Novi Sad to meetup number 9 of Serbian Agentics Foundation here in Novi Sad, in-person event. My name is Dragan Spiridonov, and I'm an ambassador for Agentics Foundation here in Serbia. We are doing regular meetups where we are showing what the community is doing, open sourcing, sharing knowledge, frameworks, tools, approaches, failures, and others, things that usually you cannot hear with vendors. So to give the context, those that are here for the first time, in the previous meetups, we have started working on an application selected by the community, and the application is really like a community social network. We decided to go with the MVP for Serbian Agentics Foundation and StartIt community. And with starting PRD, we did initial implementation using the Spark approach, but then we somewhere after the new year decided to diverge and change our approach into using the TDD approach in development and creating first the ADRs or architectural design requirement documents to define context that will keep our agents more bounded and grounded into the tasks when we start developing. And we already started doing the development. In the previous session, I think we finished like a phase 4 implementation. A number of files were created. And my plan for today's session is to check what agents implemented in the previous session and continue from there. My tool stack, so for those that are here first time, I'm using DevPod to start a secured container inside the Docker, and that will start Visual Studio Code instance connected to the Docker. I'm using Claude as an agent, coding agent. I just did update to the latest version before the session, so we don't need to wait for that. What else is in my tool stack? It's the Claude Flow. Previously, now it's RuFlow. So, it's in process of rebranding. So now I have installed the new version of RuFlow. So that's the that's the framework for agent orchestration. And I'm using my agentic QE fleet. So with the latest version, 3.7.15, freshly deployed yesterday. I didn't manage to finish today a new version. Almost a fresh release before the session. So with this stack, I have an alias defined in my bash RC, so I can invoke Claude with dangerously skip permission switch without the need to type in that every time. So I will DSP into my instance. Okay, I trust this folder, and yeah, I'm using that, but my model right now runs is with the medium effort. I want to make it high. So that's also a thing with recent updates to Claude Code. It will ask at one moment if you want to which effort you want to use by your model while working, and it will default to the medium, but you can switch that later. So by typing slash model, you can access the model, and by typing right, you can increase from medium effort to high effort to adjust and I would recommend do that because medium effort will behave as Sonnet 4.5 or something like the previous versions of the model.
Can we automate it? Can we give commands to agents or something for them to use the
certain models? That's automatically done in the AQE fleet, or also the rule flow has the automatic model router depending on the complexity of the tasks. So, okay, let me, one more thing, I didn't test it. Let's see if this works. So there should be voice enabled. No, it didn't. No. No. I did tried that. In one of the sessions that I've been using today, it offered me to use voice inside Cloud, but maybe it was Cloud Code inside Cloud Desktop instance. Okay, I will then use the whisper. So give me a second. I don't want to type and make typo mistakes. So working, let's see. Research what has been done in the repo compared to the ADRs and the implementation plan. And now, so if you want to tag an agent to ground it in certain context, so I already know that in a couple of sessions ago, we created a implementation plan using goal-oriented planning agent that created goal-oriented action plan, implementation plan that did like a current state, goal state, phased approach, what needs to happen. And let's see now, what we did. So I started with the clean context, and I will just research. So it provides the latest status. I'm not checking yet the quality of what was delivered. I first want to see what agent did finish. And this is also a nice, let's say, play. So when you are working on certain tasks, refresh your session or just use like clear to completely clear your context and ask agents to analyze. So if you use, I'm using and constantly grounding them, for instance, in git diff. So I would say check diff compared to the last commit, or check the git diff compared to the last release and see what was changed since the last time and report if that matches with what was planned to be implemented. That's the basic check, just to give Claude and Anthropic models chance to do investigation and to fill up the context with the information I will use for the next prompt to invoke in this case, QE fleet to do some analysis, or maybe some other agents from the fleet. This also will provide information what are the next tasks to work from the plan. So if your plan had multiple phases, like this GOP implementation plan has here. Oh, let me see. This should give maybe an answer. So no, it's again like this. So this would be the phases that were planned for the development of our MVP. And what are the dependencies? Some sequential dependencies must exist. So some things must, scaffolding needs to happen. And I think we, almost lost the whole session waiting for the scaffolding to finish. I thought that would be like a fast session, but most of the session, I think we finished phase 0 and maybe started like a phase 1 shared infrastructure. But let me check. I can even check in the code. So if it says these files should be created in the end, let me see if that's created while the agent is doing his own investigation. So in libraries, in infrastructure, in the database, in the source. Oh, so looks like we finished phase 1. So I'm expecting agents to, by looking by the original plan and comparing with the current status to see, okay, this is done, this is not done. But what they will not see, what is the quality of what was delivered. Any questions so far? Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's give them some time. Oh, I see a question there.
The time for templates instead of repo.
Yes. But let's see if it will understand. Because instead of repo, it detected the replit. So, you saw from there, from back there. So, yes, but, this is, and let's see, so by Control O, we can expand to see what are the prompts that it's using to explore the code base. So do a very thorough, this is the prompt that, let's say, Cloud Code using Anthropic Opus 4.6 model generated for the Explorer agent that it's invoked as a subtasks to work on, in this case, exploration of the code base and analysis of all ADR documents. And it's already found, summaries and things. Okay, nice. Requirements summary. So let's see now. So one Explorer agent have finished. The other one is still doing the exploration of the code. And yeah, let's wait until that's done. Usually while I'm waiting for this, I'm showing. So let me move the controls. Okay. More resources you can find on the agentics.org website. All our meetups that I'm doing here in Novi Sad are being recorded and shared on YouTube channel. So you can find them there. Let's see. Okay, done. Oh, now it will finish. So you can see how much tokens and how many tools each of these agents used while working on their tasks. And don't be afraid of this amount, as if I would be using API calls, it would probably incur this kind of cost. For now, it just cost me my spent limit of my Cloud Max account. Sometimes I'm using some other models with Cloud Code, and I will show you later some of the benchmarking I did comparing Opus 4.6, GLM5, and Qwen 3.5 max models. All of them inside Cloud Code using my AQE fleet for certain tasks. So, let's see. Hasn't been run. So, architecture and planning 95, infrastructure 30%. We didn't started ADRs. Okay, milestones. So this was not finished. This was not finished. And okay, 0. Here, what was done? Scaffolding, shared kernel, infrastructure. So basically, I would say most of the P1 tasks. Okay. Update ADRs and, sorry. Oh, let me see. Update ADRs and implementation plan with progress made so far. Oh, nice. Now it was better. Okay, let me do that. And now, while it's doing that, we will do the development here. I will start another instance. And I want high effort. Okay. Use a swarm of QE agents organized by Qwen with shared learning and memory to perform a full quality analysis of what was implemented so far. Okay. Maybe that this is too much for first check, because we just did the scaffolding and the initial infrastructure, but let's see how it will invoke. I'm not giving it more details. I'm just giving it general instructions. So let's see if it will recognize what it should do. But I'm expecting it should call the MCP tools, AQE MCP tools, to invoke the fleet and start the tasks after. Now, first it needs to search the code base and understand, because I didn't give it any context before this. So in this case, without the first grounding agent in any context, it will use only what it has in CloudMD. So it will start from here. In the recent versions of Cloud, and depending how often you run your project, Cloud will create its own memory file, and it will learn also things about your project. Oh, I see. It did, but it didn't use the MCP. So this is not as expected, but I will leave it to run like this. It did invoke Qwen coordinator, so it did find the agent that it needs to invoke. Security, okay. Architect, nice. Not expected that one, but good that it is selected based on a number of ADR documents that we have in the. So we are heavy now in ADR documentation, so that's why it went to use the DDD architect to analyze what's happening right now. And let's see. So let's see some of the prompts. How the cloud is invoking QE agents and some of the rule flow agents. So Qwen was invoked using this prompt. This is something that I'm usually doing after more development, when I need a really detailed analysis. And this is something that you can use if your project is already mature. So meaning, and this is sometimes how I'm doing the assessments of some of the open source projects for the community and some of friends. So I did some analysis for Semaphore and for Superplane, new projects from almost the same team. So, and I'm sharing those as gists. Oh, let me show you that while agents are working. So where is my gists? Oh, this will also be nice to show you. But for instance, yeah. So by invoking the whole QE fleet with 6 agent swarm, I can analyze like a code base. So this is like a small code base, but it can be, bigger. So this was, almost 20 times bigger in the repo size, right? And I had, when was that one done? This one. This was really big one. But this was 3 months ago with the old V2 version. Let's see. This was 2 million lines of code, REPL, Apache Spark code analysis I did 3 months ago. And we can compare that those reports then were not so good compared to the reports now generated. So let me see, for instance, this one. So it did, scanning of the code quality, complexity, security, performance, test coverage, product, and this is like a quality experience approach using rapid software testing, heuristic testing methods. In this case, SV heuristic, especially. So that's for those that are from the QE world. Maybe that sounds familiar. For those that are not there, you can check in the agent definitions, or you can ask your agent to explain you what SV in the rapid software testing school means. Okay, let's see if agents did something while we were waiting. Okay, this one running. Okay, this one is doing the updates. So it's marking. That's also a good thing. When you are doing any work, you should have an umbrella document. If it's like an epic level or a number of epics. So I'm taking a shortcut here. So this is not a too complex project. So I can, say, okay, start from the one implementation plan and we can work from there. But if we are talking about more complex projects, then that should be split into, digestible epics, let's call it like that, verticals that you can implement and test independently and then connect them in the system later. And I'm starting more to look at also what others are doing, like Steve Yege with his beats and the Gastown approach. So what I like with his approach is that atomic decomposition of the big task into small tasks for agents, and those are really specific and testable. That's something that I'm starting to test in the next month. So let's see. Okay, this one did all what was expected. Okay, and these are still doing the testing, but now I will just prepare the prompt. I will not start it yet. I will on purpose continue building here on top of the slop that previous, phase is created, but keeping that report separate. So I will just prepare a prompt here. Start a swarm of specialized agents to work on the next batch of tasks per implementation plan. And that's it. That should start again. So my expectation here is, again, it should call like either Cloudflow, no, Rooflow, MCP or Roof Swarm or whatever, like invoke through the MCPs. But maybe what I'm noticing more and more is that Cloud Code is now more trying to default back to just invoking agent definitions through the subtasks without invoking through the MCP tools. And then sometimes some of the self-learnings in the system will not work. So pattern recognition and learnings, because those depend on the invocation of the MCP tools by agents. Okay. Yes?
I didn't use agents so far, and I see you don't specify what agents you're going to use. How it works? You just
Okay, this mostly works because it knows my context, not my context, but CloudMD has some basic instructions for how to use not only my fleet, but Cloudflow fleet also. So let me find IQE. So, and after initialization of the Agentic QE fleet and the Cloudflow, I ask Cloud agent to leave only necessary information there and move the rest in the helpers. So to reduce the size, initially it was bigger. So to reduce the size and move some of the things into helpers. But by providing the documentation and basic instructions, so how to use either through the CLI or through the MCP, or how to invoke the prompts. So I didn't invoke. Oh, look, I forgot to do the new AQE init before the session because I did some update. But I think maybe the rest of the helpers are moved, so it should be somewhere in the helper file. So giving here, and not only here, skills have a lot of context. Skills themselves, especially QE skills, each of the skills is combo of, can use multiple agents for the work that they are doing. For instance, like accessibility, and my skills have something that rarely some have. I have trust tiers and evaluation system implemented that will verify if the skills behavior changed with the updates to the model. So there are evaluation patterns that will do this evaluation across different models to compare the behavior of the skill. And each skill has its own agents available. Each agent has skills it invokes when it works. So it's like a combo of, because what skills are, let's say, behavior, right? I know, or like, let's say, that's like an example that is, people are giving that example quite often from Matrix. So you want to learn Kung Fu, or you want to learn how to drive helicopter, right? So I will plug in the skill into Neo or into other agent Smith or whatever agent, right? And then that agent will execute that skill. So somebody needs to do the execution. Skill explains the behavior, but something needs to execute based on that behavior. Okay? And when running after a while in the context, you can ask. So also, I think one of my friends, colleagues from the quality assurance community, Patrick Raba from Poland, let me know that when you ask Claude about the tools to use for testing, it will now say even Agentic QE fleet is a second place or something like that. So you can ask it. Just point it to the repo and ask, how I can use this to test quality. And it will explain you in short, in your context. So it will start from your context because that's really important. So, okay, agents did something. Let me show you what they did. So QE agents did some findings, some security, some coverage gaps, some other, and here a nice overview of the current really status of the implementation. So the question that I asked there, just on the, let's call it Cloud Code agent without using QE agents, it provided simpler report of the progress. This is more visual, so you can see what's happening. So we just started, or we are somewhere 70% in the shared infrastructure. as 0 tests exist right now. And that's strange. It didn't use the TDD approach. The previous, I need to go back to check how we invoke the previous swarm, but here are the actions. So I will not then continue here. I will continue from there. I like more there. So let me give here. Oh, we even have the compliance report completely generated. Nice. So next. Okay, now work on fixing PO issues first, then continue with the rest of tasks to finish phase 1 fully. Okay. Now let's, again, I'm being more general here to see, I'm testing more of a behavior of the cloud code. If I wanted to be more specific here, I would say start a swarm of Cloud Flow and QE agents with the shared memory and blah, blah, blah. So, the whole, shebang of details. So if you already know which agent you want to invoke, you can be more specific about that. You can even add each of the agents. So if I start typing, for instance, QE and I can get a list of all the agents that are available. Or I can just ask it, what would be the best agent to use in this phase of my work? So let's ask it here. This session doesn't know anything about the AQE. I didn't ask it. This one was doing just that update of the plan and initial investigation. So explain me what better like this. Select the best QE agent or skill to help me assess quality in this phase of our project. So I'm trying something different from that, previous prompt. So I'm asking Claude to tell me what to select. I know what to select, but I want to ask it to see what it will.
QE stands for
quality engineering. Yes. So yes.
Can the agents understand the product and then
Yes.
write?
So, I need to show you. So when you're, yes, finish.
Can they write the automation tests based on the product specifications so that they can sort of use the application which we are building and then test? We'll do that again.
Yes. Yes to all of your questions. That's why I developed this fleet originally. So when you look at the quality in any project, you can observe it through multiple lenses. So what is when people are usually talking about quality, they usually focus on the product, meaning quality control. So software testing activities to surface information related to the quality of the product itself. If you're talking about the processes that you use to develop the product, then we are talking about quality assurance as a discipline that is focusing on improving the processes for delivering the product. Quality engineering optimizes all of that through the whole SDLC. So, meaning from the first phase, when you start the ideation and thinking about what is the problem you want to solve to your customers, you start testing those ideas. So quality engineers, in my opinion, are those that are taking care of the product process and everything related from the start to the end and deploying it to production. So my original idea behind this was to give those personas inside the companies a set of tools they can use to surface this type of information or to speed up a lot of work that was grunt and manually done. And a lot of that time is going to manually writing tests, test scenarios, this and that. With this fleet, you can do that really fast. And then your job is to apply your judgment and critical thinking on whatever was delivered. And not only that, there are again different techniques and combinations how to evaluate the end results or deliverables from your agents. So I'm never trusting agent after first run. And you will see, that's why I'm not there yet, but I'm using, there is like a brutal honesty review skill that I release. And then that skill is using other also agents specialized for probing the code and what was really integrated compared to what is claimed. Because modules will be implemented, but they will not be integrated into system and connected through the end-to-end flow. And there are different approaches I'm using to make sure that that does not happen or it's happen less. So, okay, already some agents are doing the fixes in that previous prompt. So while we were talking about there was like a swarm of specialized agents to work, and it invoked 4 coder agents. So these coder agents are really, 3 coder agents and the writer. So your question, as these one are coding, this one is writing tests. Yes? Yes. Yes, we can. So we can see even some of previously written tests, but at the end, I'm not looking at the code. I will invoke another set of agents to check the code, but I will indulge you. And let's see, where are the tests being packed? Probably in the libs, no. Where is it packing the tests? Opus, no. Scripts, no. Let's see. Yeah, that agent is still working, so it's not done because it was 0 coverage when we started. So let's see if that agent is still working, and we can see which agents are working. So this one, let's check. So this one is doing shared. So libs domain shared. Okay, domain. There tests. Okay. Arrange, act, assert approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
And about automation tests, they're going to be written.
Which level? These are also automation. You mean UI level tests? Yeah. There is a agent or a skill that well invoked will create. Let me find that agent and show you maybe the definition. You can invoke that agent, not here, Claude, wrong folder, agents. So V3, all QE agents are here. So there is, I think it's called test architect. So let's find the QE test architect. So for your question, this agent will create everything using the test pyramid. Let me see if it's in his, not this one then. Let's see which one is for that. But this is also a good one to invoke if you need tests, because it will also, I need to add visual regression test generation. Okay, to him. Let me just find not this one. Oh, this is also a good one. This will do using that SVD post structure function data interface approach, mutation tester. That's a good to catch if your tests are really good. That's something else. No, I'm looking for the one. Oh, this one, if I'm not mistaken. It uses the memory. I know I have somewhere the pyramid to show you that it will do the planning also, but looks like that's in the skill. So let me go into the skill. What I know for sure is that shift left testing. This one should have that. There. So you can invoke only this skill, and that skill will use the test generator, requirements validator, or regression risk analyzer, depending on the phase you are in, to validate requirements, write tests before implementation, and automating the pipeline. If you can use this, and it will create this distribution of tests for your code base using the test pyramid approach.
And run them.
Yes. And you have a test runner, QE test runner that runs tests. And there is like a QE visual tester that uses either agent browser or a playwright as runners. So either native playwright, I even have a support for Vibium. I don't know if you heard of Vibium. So Vibium is a new project by the creator, Jason Huggins, the creator of Selenium. I heard from Selenium. So he created Vibium, the new version. Ooh, I have also a new thing to share. I just heard today. Oh, where it is? Where is that one? Let me see if I... No. Where is that? This one. I need to share this with you guys. This is the really getting traction. So it already has 6K stars and it's like 2 weeks. Browser control for AI agents. So standalone HTTP server that gives AI agents direct control over Chrome. I need to test this. So I just saw this morning. I still didn't have time to test this, but I need to test if I can use this. And this would also, there will be more and more projects to give agents hands. So really like providing them tools so you can pick up the data. So I need to test this, but this can also be a part of the answer to your question. Yes? No, Puppeteer is also wrapper around. No? Right? Okay, this one is still writing test. Escape. Okay. No, don't stop. Okay. 2 agents are still working. So some of the tests are being still created. A couple of agents finished. Let me see what here is scanning. Okay. Analysis is ongoing. Oh, but I didn't ask it to run. I just select and it immediately selected QE quality assessment skill. Okay, nice. That's expected. And it invoked all the agents. Okay. So this was like a proactive behavior from the cloud, not asked in the previous prompt, but it decided to go that way. Okay, it will not hurt to have one more analysis while we are running this. But it will just, okay. Ooh, this one completed. Redis client, okay. Blacklist all for user, pipeline TTL batch. Yeah, I'm spending most of my time really reviewing agent work. Comparing Gits, I'm still not letting go, giving them full autonomous pipeline control like some guys from Foundation are doing. But let's see, I will get there sometime this year probably, as I'm also building my pipelines. That's the thing. When you start building once, you cannot stop. only limit are these token limits that they enforced on us. Like drug lords, they gave us unlimited tokens. Now they're asking for more money. Shame on them. What? Sorry?
I think you need to ship something.
Oh, I'm shipping constantly.
Still working on the community.
Yeah, but we are working only on these sessions on that. I didn't work in the meantime. When can you can you start test it? I will probably then need to work outside of the meetups, but then you will not see my flow. So this was more of showing you the flow. I can do the work without you watching it, how they are doing the work. And as you can see, let me show you just a number of commits to my main repo. Where it is? Oh no, this was the gists. Okay, go back to the repos. So I'm building multiple projects, and some are private, some are just public. Yeah, I need to run again the insights, but last year in 3 months, I managed to get in top 2% of GitHub users. And let's just check the number of the code committed in the 5 months, 6 months when I started working on this. September.
I think you misunderstood me. I didn't mean that you don't ship as a developer. I meant like we need.
Yeah, we will ship
as a community, like
yeah. But this is
build something and start using it ourselves.
But there is an idea. The idea I have, and I already got some support from one person, is to do a hackathon here. So like during Saturday, like one Saturday, full day, and I'm looking for sponsors now to organize like a food, drinks, and so we can spend the full day, from morning like 9 a.m. to evening, I don't know, 9 p.m. or something like that, like a 12 hours hackathon thing, doing really whatever we think of. But that's like a thing, I have my talk. That's why I'm not organizing that. I will need still to find, maybe I even applied for let's see if that will go through, for cloud ambassadors for Novi Sad. Then there will maybe be some options to get some test accounts or some tokens for this kind of events, where as I'm mostly using Claude. As you can see, Claude is my second contributor in the project next to me. we are burning tokens for a while. This was the new release of version 3. So this was like yeah.
The code maybe do some deployment today or yesterday, because I shared with you on LinkedIn the fleet I made for work based on your fleet, just a lot simpler. And my colleague, I had a presentation with the team, they started using it and did a really great job. But a colleague of mine tried to test it, and basically she shared the Jira ticket, and the first issue I saw was she got some tests that were not even related to Jira. Maybe some tickets, past tickets, she didn't have it in context, not in memory. He just hallucinated, and even if she tested, she said, yes, I hallucinated, and I need to do this, and mentioned other tickets. So I don't know, I mean, people will pick it up from Jira board, but
guys, we all read those disclaimers that they give us. Do not trust the output of the LLM.
I mean, we notice we need to control it.
So yeah, it needs definitely to be, overview or some kind of different types of evaluation and the checks and quality gates to check the behavior. Yes, they are doing constantly some things. A question for her: from where did she invoke? Did she, left the model to be medium, or she changed to high? Did she use Opus 4.6 or Sonnet 4.6? So did it default maybe automatically to Haiku model? So a lot of open questions I would have to ask,
Here's the link to the ticket.
Yeah, but
You read another one.
what setup? Yes, with what setup? Yeah.
And the other thing,
Oh, so
when
yeah.
the agent started, the commercial started to do a full QA and write the test and the ticket and everything. The orchestrator decided not to run whole pipeline. He said that he is enough for that ticket. And then they took into the rules explicitly say to run it all. So a lot of fun stuff testing the AI.
Yeah.
Now we are not testing those outputs.
Yeah, but that's an everyday. So, guys, the industry is changing into, we don't write that much code. We now need to, continuously keep checking the output of agents and the job that they are doing, unless we have some additional guardrails and things to add. Start of agents to work.
Yeah. But I spent hours reviewing the code pages also, and I found a lot of issues. So that's just the upgrade.
Next batch of tasks per implementation .md. I didn't even tag it, so it should know. So commit often. This one also find the same things. Probably. Oh, let's see. What was this one? We're finding something, but we were working on that one. And that's also like a nice, oh, this is also a good thing. No go. Nice. But let's see what the other batch will do. Come on, stop, escape. I don't want this session anymore. I want this one to continue. And it will probably not commit everything, but only what's related to the work that this session has done. So that's also a thing when you're working with multiple sessions in the same projects. You will notice that if you ask agent to commit in this what commit changes without explicitly saying commit all changes, even though sometimes it happens when I say commit all changes, it will, in the 95%, it will commit only the changes that it did in that session. It ignore anything else created. It will say it's not related to our changes. That's probably expected behavior, right? That's an expected behavior, but yeah. Okay, it committed, but it didn't committed some of those reports. Let me see what it didn't committed. Why do we have two implementation plans? Why this does, the old implement, I need to delete. Which one? This one is the good one. This one is the bad one. Okay, this just got the update. Okay, delete. Let me find the file. There's the original implementation plan. I don't want it to be confused. Bye-bye. We diverge from that plan. That plan is not in use anymore and it's not important. Okay. Nice dashboard to track the plan. Okay. And agents are working. Okay. Some maintenance needed, but we are done. Okay. Questions? Yes.
How does it cost to run that QE swarm prompt?
I don't know exactly to tell you. Each agent consumes in average around, depending on the complexity of the task, but let's say like regular complexity tasks, it will consume around 50K tokens. So up to 100K, 150 for more complex analysis and tool uses. So you saw that one of the agents that were using like a 70 tools, that one's burned like 120K tokens. So if you start like a swarm of 5 agents, each agent like a 70K tokens, that's like 350K tokens at minimum.
And I used Claude Code, so what is that in dollars?
I'm not, because I have
It's around $2.
so yeah, so there somebody who knows the prices of the APIs. So I would say like 1 million tokens is $5 or something like that, or no, what's $3 to $5? Okay, depending on the model involved, but Opus 4.6 is I think something around $3 for 1 million of tokens.
Basically, you need Cloud Max at least the first time. I tried it with just
Pro, that burns in 5 minutes.
Yeah. 1 week is spent in 1 day.
So I'm using the subscription model and I'm paying like $200 a month to get the max limit of tokens available for and I can work on 2 projects in parallel and not burn everything. Because my agents are optimized to go in the simple task to call the simpler models, not to burn that much from the limit available. So I have a fixed cost. But I recommend using either you can use Open Router, and there are ways how you can use the Open Router also with the Cloud Code, where some models are free, some have promotions, so they are free-ish, let's say it like that. And there are different models available that are not so good as Opus, so that's something that for sure, but are cheaper. So for instance, Z.ai offers GLM models for price like the same amount of like max account that Anthropic sells for $200, GLM sells for $30. And you can use GLM models. There is like a small configuration just to add to Claude config.json. So there is a simple explanation on the website you can follow how to use different model with the Claude code instead of Anthropic one. And that's how I did. Let me show you that. Let me hide controls. So that is how I did. Where are my gists? How I did this. So I use Claude Code to run 3 separate tests, but with different models each. And each would invoke the QE fleet using the same prompt. So I didn't change, I was changing only the destination where the report should go. So the only update in the prompt would be the name of the folder where to save the data, the reports, and compared in that way. For GLM, I just mentioned using ZAI. For Qwen models, there is Alibaba Cloud plan that is starting, I think, also from $15 or something like that. The max account is $50 a month, but you can get access not only to Qwen model, but also to Kimi models, min-max model, and GLM models all in one. So they're providing whole batch. I think it's Alibaba. Oh, sorry. Alibaba coding plan. So, and you get, again, when you open, you get a number of tokens free. They gave you 70 million tokens free. If you want to go that direction. If you're not worried about Chinese training on your data, even though they are anyway, all these models that they are using are being distilled from the Anthropic models, and vice versa. I don't want to go there. This is being recorded.
You want to be a bastard.
Yeah, I will probably forget about that because I'm, telling people how they can use for cheaper money. Don't need to pay for the Anthropic.
Based on Opus.
Yeah. So here is the research, and really there are differences. GLM is really close. So if you say, this is what makes difference. So I don't know what happened with that run of Qwen. I didn't expect these bad results. I need to rerun them again. So I heard really good experiences of people using Qwen for coding, but maybe they are not good for quality assurance and control. So maybe I found them a weak spot. Maybe they need to get some RAG training using QE Fleet. What I also suspect is, I expect some RAG training is happening with the users using, and more and more users are using, and I have more than like 2,000 downloads weekly of Agentic QE Fleet. So there are users using. So trainings, RAG trainings is being happening. As somebody asked how they know which agent to use. So their models are being trained with as we are, using them. You say you don't want the models to be trained with your data, but okay. Yeah. So, and who is interested, I can share these GIFs to go in details to check how the results are looking. And I used a specific agent, and that's where it is, the devil's advocate agent, to really check what's the baseline, so we can compare about. So yeah, post devil's advocate. So and I already fixed the issues that were identified because I was running this on my code base. And when all three converge to the same conclusion, so that probably, is true. And, that was fixed. Okay, 6 agents working in parallel. Okay. And let's see, maybe we can sneak peek what they are doing on. So notification, oh, it started working on the face too. Okay. I will need to go and do more fixing next time. But good, we will have now more code to release the brutal honesty review on it in the next phase. Okay, I will leave them. Escapes the.
You maybe find the limit for brutal honest review. I mean, I usually do it in something, as I said before, 5 rounds, sometimes 33 rounds. But accidentally once years ago, I did this, it happened like this, it started doing some page, and I said, okay, leave it. And there's some, how you say, amount of code or features implemented that brutal honest review may skip or reveal it to it. Or you notice something?
Oh, meaning when you try to check more changes in batch,
Yeah.
like from once.
It will be maybe worse, and then if you say, okay, again and again, and then he will do it maybe better, I'm just afraid sometimes if he'll skip something critical.
I didn't test it, but that's why as I'm doing the phased implementation. So what are then the finish phase, and then do the couple of rounds of checking.
But in case something
But-
happens and it starts developing, then I miss it because I'm having dinner, but
but that needs to be really like more than 10K lines of code or something like that. So it's not like a change that you can do like in a, let's say, single swarm of agent sprint. Okay, going to okay. What else? What else I can show you? Interesting. Yeah, again, to mention the row vector. If you didn't go, try to, check this, because most of my projects are using some of the crates or examples that you can building blocks provided from this repo. Yeah, RuFlow. This is the rebranding of the Cloud Flow. So sometime a month ago it was Cloud Flow. Now it's RuFlow. So yeah, that's more than 20K, and how much monthly? 70K monthly downloads. So most popular orchestration framework on the GitHub, I would say. And what else? Yeah, this is the project that was trending.
I want to ask about that.
Yeah, and he was demoing this to us, and there are devices that you can buy for, I don't know, a couple of bucks that you can use to see through walls. But okay, recognize there is a person there, even measure its heart rate. So there are number of possible applications for this, and I think there is even like a live demo here somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, here. So this is how it would detect you. This was, for instance, would be one of those devices with installed row view on it, and it will detect detect the person and what's the heart rate, respiration speed, and other signs. This is for instance for the vital sign monitoring. Then it can do the presence detection, human pose estimation, and this is only if we are looking at this. Or we can take, let's see, something like this.
Government like this.
Yeah, that's why this was trending, and people are also saying, "Oh, but this is bad," and then again, we are going back. With great power comes great responsibility. For instance, get an example of a knife. Knife is a useful tool that we cannot live without, and how you would cook any food without a knife? But we can misuse the knife and hurt somebody. So each tool can be used good or it can be used bad. His examples that he provided give examples of using this for medical purposes, using this like in waiting rooms, in emergency rooms, when you don't know the status of a person, if it's having problems with respiratory or something like that, and you can react, you can recognize a person with problems and go and do the triage instantly, not needing to go through the system. Think of avalanches, think of earthquakes, funding people, below the, but there are examples. Let me see, where did he put? So here. So a number of categories for which this can be used, but from the perspective of good. And yes, agreed. There was a lot of, let's say, discussions and different opinions and a lot of hate coming in his direction with the implementation of this tool. And let me see if he fixed I did quality analysis of this and reported.
And that is the same as he promoted before, Wi-Fi something. That's that.
Yeah, that one, but he renamed it
Oh.
because he fixed my issue. I did a scan. Let's see if I can find. I did a scan of the fleet of his system with my fleet to give him some info. Where is prof? No, QE. Did I do that for you? Yes, I did. Yeah. Okay. I don't need to look for that. But yeah. These are also how to build it and everything. And yeah, Rust, guys, I don't know if somebody tried agentic development using Rust as a backend, but it's much better because of the strictness of the language. Agents cannot make mistakes, and their mistakes cannot, pass easily like they can, for instance, in TypeScript. As you know, I'm having a lot of time, debugging and fixing any type and mistakes that are easily put in the by agents in other languages that are not that strictly type-based, like Rust. And it is heavy on resources, meaning for compile it takes longer and it takes a lot of space on your hard drive, so it eats a lot of space when it builds a project with Rust. But once you compile it, it will be small, it will be fast, it will be secure, it will be stable. Yeah, it will work. So for instance, like brutal honest review skills, like a 3 to 5 iteration on TypeScript or Python projects. But on Rust, just 1 or 2, and it's done. Because it's, again, it has own compiler, Rust checker, and other plugins you can use in the Visual Studio Code to check. Okay. This one is almost finished. We have tests, we have tests, we have tests. We have 28 test files with 466 tests, all passing. We will check that next time. What all passing means this time. But yeah, let's give it some time. A look of the diff, guys. Probably I need to add something to the Git diff, but let me just check what we did today. And it's still ongoing. So nothing for Git ignore. I don't see anything here for Git ignore. I assume there's something that we don't need, but how long? Half an hour? 170 files. This was faster than the last time. I see some who witnessed this, in some of the previous iterations. So yep, this was nice swarm, nice and fast swarm. This project reference issues in that it context part. Okay, need adjustments. So it will now go and try to fix those smaller issues. It's trying now to build the application and test and run the tests. So it will find the TypeScript issues blocking the build, but it will not go deeper. So for the next session, we will continue where we left off now. So we are now on the phase 2, somewhere in the phase 2 of implementation. So we need to continue with verifying what agents did and building until we are done. So probably a couple of more sessions and we are done. Unless we organize a hackathon before.
Nice. Hackathon. Good idea.
Yeah, I will work on that. I have that in my plan, but okay, stop recording. Thank you everybody who joined us online or will watch this later on YouTube channel, and see you next time.